say my PC finna crash, but I don't care, bro. I genuinely just don't care, bro. Crashes, don't do it, don't. I do not care, bro. Simple as that, bro. I don't care. But anyways, today I'm just here to touch upon simple topics like music. Personally, music is like not a big influence, but music is like something that's like really huge in terms of people's lives. People turn to music for inspiration, people turn to music in terms of sorrow. Even though they shouldn't, people still do. That's the matter of the fact is people still do turn into music for certain aspects of their lives. So I want to get into this whole notion of the music of the 2020s, bro. Like music from like, let's just say music from like 2017, like 2018 type of music, like music from 2018 like to music to 2025. Bro. The music that's being released now, bro, it's trash. Let's be honest, it's trash. From the artist side, trash. From the producer side, trash. From the sound engineer side, trash. From the record label side, trash. From the audience, from us ourselves as the audience, trash. The music industry right now is trash. And for me personally, I'm a big like hip hop or rap fan in terms of I can say, because I listen to gospel rap mostly. I'm a gospel rap type of person, and the things that I hear on gospel rap is obviously things that are taken from mainstream hip hop. You feel me? So if mainstream hip hop is not popping and mainstream hip hop is flopping, then obviously gospel rap is not gonna be flourishing as much as it should. You feel me? Like it should actually be flourishing due to the fact that hip hop, modern mainstream hip hop is flopping, but it's not the case because hip hop artists that are Christians that go from listening to hip hop, the mainstream hip hop, to now listen to Christian hip hop. It's like, what's the difference? The only thing is they don't cuss, they don't talk about all these other stuff, profanities and all these other things, but it's a difference. Like I still get the same vibe, I still get the same like feeling. The lyrics are the same, like the lyrics are in the same flow, the beats are the same. So what exactly am I getting out of this? Like what exactly am I feeling like is a change for me? What am I feeling like? What do I feel like I'm doing for me? So like that's what I wanna get to in general, like you feel me? Like it's those times where you just gotta like see it like that, bro. Like it's just not popping, bro. Like things just ain't popping, bro. Like music ain't popping, politics ain't popping. Things just ain't hitting the same no more. But animations, on another hand, is a different story. I talked about animations yesterday, bro. That is popping. Like that that is a different side, bro, of the internet right now, bro. The music side is a different side of the internet, bro. But the fucking music side of the internet, bro, is trash, bro. Trash. Like you're better off listening to flipping Indian music, bro, like Indian music, than listening to like mainstream like hip hop artists. Like, bro, you can't be telling me listen to DaBaby in 2025, bro. Come on, man. Like lock in, bro. And not hate on DaBaby, like it's not hate on DaBaby, but like it's just the same. It's like listening to Lil Baby. It's like just basically going back and listening to Lil Pump. Or who listens to Lil Pump? Like it's just these days the mainstream rap just needs something different, gang. They need something that's oomph. You feel me? And I know people think, oh no, we got that from the new Playboy Cardi album. Bro, shut up, gang. Keep quiet. You don't know music. Nah, but Playboi Carti's album was peak, bro. Everything that he was doing, bro, was peak, bro. Like, didn't you hear them, bro? Beats, repetitive. Lyrics, repetitive. Tone, repetitive. Theme, repetitive. Settings, repetitive. Plan, repetitive. Everything is just repetitive. Just rinse, recycle, reuse, throw, like just rinse, recycle, reuse, rinse, recycle, reuse, rinse, recycle, reuse. Time and time and time and time again, bro. Nothing new, gang. There ain't nothing new, gang. There's nothing that I get from mainstream hip hop that I can't get from Christian hip hop. Except I get much more better from Christian hip hop than mainstream hip hop. But the matter of the fact is there is no innovation in it. People ain't trying to create something different. People ain't trying to do something different. And the people that are doing something different, people are hating on them. People are putting them down. People are not like appreciating how these type of people are operating and how these type of people are moving just because their vision and their way of doing things is a bit unorthodox, but it's new. You feel me? So like, I don't know, bro. That's why people like now are liking what's her name, Gucci, whatever. I don't know her name, but that's why, because it sounds different. You feel me? And also with Tyler the Creator is doing something different. I don't listen to Tyler the Creator music. I don't listen to Deuces music. I don't even listen to mainstream hip hop music. And the last time I listened to mainstream hip hop music, like as in attentively, was probably like around 2022, 2021, around that time. Like from 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, I was probably the biggest hip hop fan around that time. But then stopped. Because it's just not good for me, yeah. Genuinely, just not good for your boy, bro. But anyways, bro, telling y'all, bro. Actually think about this, bro. Actually think about it, bro. Like, you just gotta look at yourself and be like, bro, things just gotta stop being like this, bro. As an artist, as a producer, as a label, just gotta stop being so unoriginal, so unauthentic, so unproductive, unreliable for me. We just gotta start standing on business, bro. Like for real, like we legitimately gotta start standing on business, bro. I ain't gonna care, bro. Like rappers, producers, musicians, artists, and all that, bro. Just gotta start like locking in, bro. But anyways, bro. Yeah. Let's get to some watching, bro. Let's get to some watching, like some why duos never last in hip hop anymore.
Each of these rap duos faced a different problem that led to their breakup, whether it was for something dumb or for something much more serious. Let's start by investigating. What happened to Drake and Future, as their working relationship suddenly took such a drastic turn that Future gathered two of his biggest ops to diss him on his new album. My name is Luesta, and this is why duos never last in hip-hop anymore. As the world was going crazy over Kendrick's insane diss towards Drake and J. Cole on Metro Boomin and Future's new album, We Don't Trust You, everyone pointed out how Future was low-key fake for doing this. For one, Future and Drake are known to have collaborated on many hits, such as Life is Good, Where Ya At, and Used to This, which combined for nearly 2.5 billion views on YouTube alone. And over the course of their collab album, What a Time to Be Alive, and countless team-ups on Wax over the years, they proved that it's a winning combination when the A and the 6 link up. However, it seems that after a decade of being on good terms, things have suddenly soured between them, and as usual, the fans are the ones that noticed first. While people think that they've been having a silent beef since the release of their hit song Wait For You, such as Joe Budden.
You don't think it's weird that nothing ever happened with that fucking hit smash song that Future and Drake made with Tim's?
It was a hit. When you say,
it was a hit.
When you say what?
No, it was a hit. It was a smash.
So what you mean? Nothing happened with it.
Never heard it again. That's weird.
It don't come on.
That's weird for you to have that smash.
It don't come on.
And both of y'all act like it don't exist. That's weird.
Others believe the issues began when Future didn't even care to promote his smash album with 21 Savage titled Her Loss. Is it only me, or have Future and Drake not been fucking with each other since Her Loss? Future didn't even post it, and they haven't been spotted together ever since. Not even their usual random link-ups. Over time, their theory that maybe Drake's decision to link up with 21 Savage had ruffled some feathers was explored by Nori from Drink Champs, as he said that the rumor has been going around the industry for a while.
Oh, that's what I heard. I heard that's a big rumor that Future is not too happy this Drake and 21 Savage album, and
because Future and Drake did an album before,
and it makes Drake and Future album not as important, I would say.
That's what he feels.
And that's I mean, this is allegedly. This is all rumors. I've never heard it from Future's mouth. Never heard it from Drake. Never heard it from 21. But it's an alleged big rumor that's going on right now.
With speculation all over the internet that the two weren't seeing eye to eye, Future's new collab album with fellow Drake hater Metro Boomin seemed to make it clear that he and Champagne Papi were not on good terms anymore. On the album's title track, Future spits some lines. According to Genius, these lines may refer to rumors that Drake and Future had a feud over a girl. And although he's not explicitly naming names, the repeated use of the
why is it always over a girl? why do these things rappers always end up over a girl? Why are we feuding over females, bro? We should be feuding over serious business like money and all that, but women, bro. Why? Why? Two grown adults, one in his 40s, one in his 30s, bro, beefing over females, over women, over ladies, beefing over women, right? For what reason? Just because I took your girl, I gotta get back, I took your girl. Or how somebody took his girl, and now because you took his girl and I like that guy, well you take his girl, so I'm with this guy, so now we're beefing because you took his girl and now I'm with that guy. Why are we beefing? Because you linked up with another person, made an album bigger than the album we made. Why am I beefing with you? It's business. It's the business. You don't have a contract together which says you can only exclusively make an album with me only. What's going on? Why is so much ego, so much pettiness in this business, bro? Nah, the devil gotta stop, bro. The devil gotta stop, bro, being a part of the business, bro. Music is the key to the soul, bro. Music is the key can unlock many doors, bro.
Could easily be a reference to Drake's last record, For All the Dogs. Besides, if he was still Drake's ally, he couldn't have let Kendrick, one of Drake's biggest enemies, absolutely obliterate Drake on the song like that, bar after bar.
Get up with me, fuck sneak this, the first person shooter. I hope they came with 3 switches. I for all your dogs getting buried. That's the king with all these nines. He gon' see Pet Cemetery.
Now, fans have dug up a ton of evidence pertaining to their beef, such as the fact that Drake's song More M's was easily a diss to Future. And I mean, just compare these these title tracks from their last album. Through Drake and Future beefing, we can see that when it comes to rap duos, it sometimes takes one misunderstanding for everything to fall apart. However, when it comes to an iconic hip-hop duo from Atlanta, the reason for their breakup simply stemmed from ego. With tracks like Lifestyle, Tap Out, and a whole lot more proving that they had incredible chemistry, the Birdman co-signed group known as Rich Gang had all the potential in the world. But after a successful run in 2013 through 2014, the two stars began to experience a lot of friction. At the outset of their careers, these two were basically inseparable, to the point that Thug even called Rich Homie Quan his husband. And believe it or not, this is actually where their problem began. As due to Thug's feminine nature, Quan was constantly asked about his sexuality in various interviews, which seemingly became annoying.
Young Thug calls you hubby on Instagram. Explain what that means, man.
It's just a figure of speech, man. Take it how you want to like.
And it wouldn't be long before Thugger took offense and started sounding off about him during his live shows. Which prompted responses such as this from Quan during his shows. Their relationship just kept deteriorating since this very moment, as Quan clearly wasn't a fan of Thug's comments.
My first reaction was, my brother called me Quan, and I took my glasses off. Like, so to be honest, not to get in my feelings, it hurt.
After that, shots were traded back and forth, and while Thugger's career kept flourishing, Quan never really regained the same momentum he lost once the beef was kicked. So what happened between them? Well, for Quan, he's gone on interviews stating that their fallout had a lot to do with ego.
Ego played a big role in it. Certain people, include myself, certain people felt like they should go last, or certain people wanted more money, and, you know, I ain't gonna say too much, but it started falling apart around it.
And that he never really thought the group was official.
Like, I never looked at it like we were in a group. You know, I just looked at it like two solo artists were doing collaborative music, working together.
On the other hand, Young Thug claimed that the beef was 100% personal.
Yeah, it's nothing about music. It's 100% personal. Like, this was my brother. Yeah, it's just like, bro. Now it's like, man, you probably can't never get the blessing of having me on the song, and I can never get the blessing of having you on the songs again.
However, some fans have speculated that there's a deeper reason for the two's untimely split. For one, Quan was known to have a working relationship with one of Young Thug's ops, YFN Lucci. In one incident that dates back to 2015, Thug supposedly played a part in a shooting that got Lucci's manager, Big Nut, killed. And according to this leaked audio that surfaced in 2023, Rich Homie was caught snitching on Young Thug, who is currently locked up as a result of the ongoing YSL RICO case, as he supposedly gave crucial evidence to the Fed about what happened during that time period. With snitching viewed as a big no-no in the culture of hip-hop, it's no wonder that Quan vehemently denied the rumors, and essentially got off scot-free. But one artist who couldn't escape the drama when it came to snitching on Young Thug is Gunna. In fact, it was such a massive issue that it also destroyed his working relationship with another ATL rapper, despite the fact the duo were once close as brothers. At one point in time, these two artists from ATL were both under Thugger's wing. While Gunna was officially signed to Thugger's label, the YSL Records leader was also paying Lil Baby to rap in the studio and keep himself out of the streets. At this stage, Gunna essentially stepped in as a mentor, and in Lil Baby's own words, helped him learn the craft of rhyming.
And I started rapping, and he actually started like helping me, you know what I'm saying, rap. Like, I didn't pay Gunna to write my songs.
When discussing his role in Lil Baby's career, Gunna said that he helped push him to go harder, critiqued his work, and gave him words of encouragement, which helped them develop a really close friendship with one another.
Would you say Gunna's your closest friend in the industry?
Yeah, definitely. I don't got no friends in the industry like that.
Eventually, the two became regular guests on each other's projects, before eventually dropping their joint project titled Drip Harder, that really helped solidify both of them as major players in the game. From there, the two stayed on good terms, all the way up to the time that Gunna found himself behind bars as part of the YSL RICO case I discussed earlier. While his friends were in jail, Lil Baby expressed support for both Thugger and Gunna. However, Gunna would eventually do something that would turn a lot of his rap peers against him. December 14th, 2022 marks the day Gunna's life and career took a turn in a new direction. It was revealed that Gunna was released on an Alford plea, which allows a defendant to maintain their innocence, but acknowledge that pleading guilty is in their best interest. In other words, he basically snitched on Young Thug, and said that his record label YSL was indeed a gang, and not just a rap collective as everyone thought. When the news broke, the entire hip-hop community was at Gunna's neck, with the infamous clip of him saying "yes ma'am" to every allegation read to him becoming a widespread meme.
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a music label and a game.
Yes, ma'am.
While the internet was divided over if taking an Alford plea was
You're a rat. I'll rap too, bro. I'll be a rat, bro. I don't know what's up with black people and telling me, bro, you're doing bad things with bad people. The one good thing you could do is rap, bro. Like, I don't know what's up with y'all, bro. I'll rap. Rap faster than Ratatouille, bro. Come, y'all playing
was considered as snitching, people like Tekashi 6ix9ine, who got blackballed from the entire music industry for the same accusation, were trying to convince the public that it was just that.
The judge said YSL is a gang and a record label. YSL committed crimes in furtherance of the gang to whatever. Is that correct, Mr. Kitchens? What did he say?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not admitted to your crime. You just told the court that YSL's a gang. So now you just fucked up your man's defense. Your man can say, listen, look how many records we sold. Look how many stadiums we sold out.
And with that, his close friend and work associate, Lil Baby, was amongst the many rappers who immediately unfollowed him on Instagram. This is basically the modern way of ending a friendship. And it wasn't long before he started posting songs dissing his former friend. Then, during a performance of their hit song, Drip Too Hard at a show, Lil Baby prematurely cut the track, reminding the crowd that he thought Gunna was a rat. However, Gunna played the Uno reverse card. On the track Bread and Butter from his comeback project, Gunna responded with some lyrics that claimed Baby was already working with a snitch, saying, "You snitched on me, we know you in business with a rat." Which refers to Pierre Thomas, also known as P, who is the co-owner of Baby's label Quality Control, and was caught cooperating in a murder case back in 2010. But whether he did it or not, it's clear that the damage is done and there's no coming back from it. In certain cases like Lil Baby and Gunna, the relationship has crumbled into pieces that not even a clearing of the air or a confrontation could sort things. But in the case of Cardi versus Uzi, their issues ran so deep that they literally had to squabble up for it. Across tracks like Lookin', Woke Up Like This, Shoota, Left Right, and a whole ton of unreleased gems like Bankroll and Throw It Up. Cardi and Uzi weren't just the leading lights of the so-called mumble rap era, but also a real dynamic duo that hip-hop misses dearly.
It's your boy, Playboy Cardi.
At one stage, there were even claims that they would link up for a collab project titled 1629, and Cardi has spoken openly about just how many tracks they had in the vault that'll probably never see the light of day.
Like, how many records do y'all have together that we haven't heard that are just sitting on a hard drive somewhere? 100?
As early as 2017, we saw the first signs of discord when Uzi pulled out of a planned tour with Cardi because he had to, quote, focus. And although they kept things pretty much under wraps, that was the last we ever heard about the possibility of them releasing a project together. But as of 2019, things switched up, with Uzi opening up about his feelings on the increasingly elusive Cardi on Twitter. When a fan questioned the status of their relationship, Uzi simply tweeted that they were not on good terms, and went on to claim that he just took a different route and that it had nothing to do with beef. But Uzi would later reveal in 2020 that they had some real tensions that they had to deal with, before stating not long after that they already linked up and fought each other. Over time, Uzi would continue to be the one who filled in the blanks in regards to their relationship, claiming that he tried to collaborate with Cardi multiple times, but couldn't find him, and was probably bitter about this, considering he called Cardi's new track Just Meh shortly after. And as Cardi continues to grow increasingly isolated from the rest of hip-hop in terms of sound, the possibility of them working together again looks increasingly slim. However, in a rare moment of vulnerability from Uzi, he since admitted that he's a little jealous of Cardi in terms of how he found his own niche in hip-hop.
Cardi Cardi made that lane like, yo, Cardi's so good at that shit, nobody else can do it. It not being real, you know what I'm saying? Like, he closed it off, like, that's that role, that's his personal role.
In the case of Uzi and Cardi, it was clearly their own personal dynamic that was the problem. But sometimes, rap duos are torn apart by financial problems. And that's exactly what happened with Jay-Z and Kanye. Nowadays, it's absolutely crazy to think that these two went on a huge worldwide tour where they performed together every night. With explosive hit songs like Otis and In Paris, their collaborative multi-platinum selling album, Watch the Throne, not only broke records and went quintuple platinum, but it also ushered in a whole new era of hip-hop. However, soon after this record came out, things would start to go off the rails, and any plans for a sequel would be nothing more than a distant memory. You could say that the relationship between Jay-Z and Kanye got a little weird after Ye embarrassed Taylor Swift on live television, writing for Jay-Z's wife Beyonce as if he was her husband.
I'm really happy for you. I'll let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
Henny Ye was different. But in terms of what went wrong between the two of them, Ye feels as if their dynamic changed in 2014 when Jay-Z and Beyonce never showed up to his wedding when he got married to Kim Kardashian.
But I was hurt about them not coming to the wedding. I understand he was going through some things, but it was family, you know. He's not gonna miss the wedding.
To make matters worse, Kanye felt slighted once again when Hov never got in contact with him after Kim was robbed at gunpoint in Paris during a 2016 performance where he said, "Don't call me after the robbery and say how are you feeling. You wanna know how I'm feeling? Come by my house. Bring the kids by the house, like we're brothers. Let's sit down." With nothing but silence from Jay-Z's end for nearly 2 years, Kanye began pursuing more strategic ways of getting Jay-Z's attention, and his next attempt finally prompted a response. After Kanye went on yet another 10-minute long rant during a show in Sacramento in November of 2016, Jay-Z and Beyonce were one of the many artists and celebrities he discussed. He first took aim at his wife Beyonce by claiming she was doing some shady stuff to him behind the scenes.
Beyonce, I was hurt. Because I heard that you said you wouldn't perform unless you want people to get over me and over Hotline Bling.
Before then telling Jay-Z to call him and talk to him like a man.
Jay-Z called me and called Jay-Z, I know you that kid. Please don't sit on my head. Just call me. Talk to me like a man.
Shortly after his performance, Ye was hospitalized for exhaustion and forced to cancel the remainder of his tour. But a year later, Jay-Z added a little bit of his own backstory to the feud on the track Kill Jay-Z from his 2017 project titled 444, which included these lines.
You got hurt because you didn't cool by you. You gave 20 million without blinking. He gave you 20 minutes on stage. What was he thinking?
To understand what these lyrics are referring to, let me explain. According to sources close to TMZ, the 8-figure payout that Jay-Z is referring to supposedly had to do with an advance that Jay-Z gave to Kanye to cover Yeezy's extravagant touring expenses for her St. Pablo tour in 2016, the same tour that Kanye was seen ranting about Jay-Z on stage. West also claims that he was owed $3 million from Tidal, as he originally acted as one of the co-owners of the service when Jay-Z took over. As the tension continued to escalate over the years, Hov revealed during the 444 rollout that he had enough, and thought that Ye had let things get out of hand with some of his comments.
What really hurt me, like, you can't bring my kids and my wife into it. Like, Kanye's my little brother. Like, he's talked about me 100 times. He made a song for Big Brother. We've gotten past bigger issues, so if you brought my family into it, now it's a problem with me. He knows it's a problem, because me and him have been talking about it. We've been resolved that issue. But he knows that he crossed the line. I know him. He knows. He knows. And the only thing he has to know, I know he knows. Because we never let this much space go between one of our disagreements. We've had many. It's part of who we are.
But in 2020, they broke the internet when they joined forces again on Donda's jail. And to say that fans weren't excited to see them back on good terms would be an understatement. After personal issues and public bold statements tore them apart, Jay and Ye finally linked back up. But things aren't as they once were. Because even though Jay had recorded his verse, the reunion almost never happened because Ye once again felt like Hov wasn't there for him.
Everybody is saying, I'm taking verses off. I'm taking 16 verses off.
In response, Hov was replaced with the baby on the track Jail, and by the looks of it, that didn't do much to cement them back on solid ground, as when Ye released Vultures, Hov was nowhere to be seen. For years, people have talked about Drake giving new artists a major boost with a feature, either on one of their songs or guesting on his projects. Because he's seen as putting so many rappers on over the years, it's no surprise that a lot of them feel indebted to him.
I messaged Drake like, you're a cool dude, you know what I'm saying? He like,
Right.
he real observant.
So this has been a long
He told
time.
me like 2018 we're gonna make it happen, but we made it happen for real.
But while we all know the success stories of people like Lil Baby and 21 Savage, what happens when the Drake cosign backfires and becomes the highlight of your career? And does that feature from Drizzy come with strings attached? That means you can never escape his shadow? From Kendrick Lamar accusing Drake of, quote, running to Atlanta when he needs a few dollars, and specifically mentioning how he uses his features with rappers like Future, 21 Savage, Lil Baby, and 2 Chainz as a way to be more accepted by the culture, it highlights a deeper point that I want to dive more into later in the video. Cause these days, we have rappers like Rod Wave, a top-selling rapper with a die-hard fanbase, and the ability to sell out huge venues worldwide, even going as far as to turn down a feature from Drake. So it's clear that something fishy is going on. But before we get into how things went so wrong, I first need to explain how Drizzy got this reputation as a cheat code for success. By the year 2020, Drake assisted 32 artists to their highest Hot 100 position at the time. This included major stats like Kendrick Lamar, Future, Lil Baby, and many, many more. On average, the artists climbed up 19 spots from their previous highest position. Plus, 18 of these artists had never even made it onto the charts in the first place before they got that Drake stimmy. His peak moment of helping other artists came in 2017 when he brought 7 fellow rappers onto the billboards, or at least gave them a boost. By 2021, he'd appear on 41 projects as a guest since 2015, and 30 times out of those 41, his track had the highest streams on Spotify and YouTube for the entire project. And of course, Drake didn't just let those numbers speak for themselves. He's constantly boasted about these accomplishments on songs like Mob Ties.
Lead the league is scoring, man, but look at my
And now that Drake is facing opposition from artists like Future, Rick Ross, The Weeknd, and Kendrick Lamar during the Rap Civil War that's taken a hold of the game, his track Push-Ups also hinted towards those who benefited from the stimulus package, with shots like every song that made it onto the charts he got from Drizzy, and your first #1, I had to put it in your hand. Because of the reputation as a hitmaker who can uplift an artist's career, it's meant that getting the guest spot from Drake outshines cosigns from legends in the industry.
A Jay-Z feature is still considered one of the most important features you can get to this day.
This was especially true for someone like Lil Durk, who was famously featured on Drake's absolute smash hit, Laugh Now, Cry Later.
In the studio, right? This motherfucker Drake come through the DM, like, see your number. Man, you told me this before. I supposed to be on that compilation he did. Like, he dropped like 4 songs. He didn't get on it. So when he said DM me his number, he sent the song through. I called everybody. Are you rich? It's over with. Like shit, he got that touch for real. You hear me? Yeah, I turned to a fan that motherfucking day. I called everybody. Mama, it's over down. With. I'm finna do this motherfucker. We finna fuck him up on, and we finna go. Then so we came out, and the song was during the pandemic.
Yeah,
we went straight to 100.
And then it just
shout out to Drizzy, man.
Yeah, shout out Drake though. He definitely helped the motherfucker out 1,000.
Praised by so many who got that first taste of the Billboard through him, it's one of the few things that, until recently at least, most people that first taste of the Billboard.
Who it is, bro? Who's this?
Billboard through him, it's one of the few things that, until recently at least, most of his fellow MCs were happy to salute Drizzy for.
I'm the only person that put on for me when I ain't have nobody was Drake. I'm talking about Drake was the first person to put on like before anybody. He didn't want to sign me. Yeah. He didn't want to, it was like, yo, that's raw talent, yo. Like, you gotta shine, yo. I'm gonna see to it. But I forever owe Drake.
Well, that's a little awkward now, considering the recent events that's taken the game by storm. But as much as Drake fans like to talk about how he can basically give rappers exposure or even revive their careers, this is only one side of the story. Because for every success for people like Flocko, Savage, or The Weeknd, there are people like Blockboy JB, Sosa Geek, OVO Chinese Division in the UK gigs, who haven't returned to the Billboard charts ever since. As for others who kept their place in the game, the problem is that they just failed to replicate the early rush of publicity that came from the Drizzy feature. That's why when the new artist Forbats got a collab with Drake, which debuted with 3 million streams in its opening 24 hours on Spotify, not everyone saw it as a good thing for his future. So who are the artists whose careers capsized after getting the call from Drake? And how much is he to blame? When you think of an artist who fell off after getting the Drake feature, they don't come much bigger than BlocBoy JB. A Memphis MC who initially garnered attention with tracks like Shoot, Rover featuring 21 Savage, and the dance that Fortnite would later steal, BlocBoy JB found himself getting the famed DM from Drizzy where he claimed he was his favorite rapper. They would eventually collab on a hit song titled Look Alive, and it went crazy when it debuted, as it basically took over the game and quickly landed BlocBoy in the XXL freshman list for 2018, as well as a record deal with Interscope. Peaking at number 5 on the Billboard charts, the track's official video now has over 390 million views on YouTube alone. But for all the momentum he had, it's all just evaporated once Drizzy did what he always does and moved on to the next hot thing. When his debut album Fatboy dropped in 2020, it failed to chart, and the same unfortunately goes for 2022's Back to the Block. Although he still has his loyal core fans, resulting in 2.4 million listeners on Spotify, he struggled to come to terms with the negative impact that Look Alive had on his career, even when people pointed out to him.
Do you feel like you, in some ways, you kind of blew up so fast that it gave people weird expectations of what was supposed to be coming from you?
To be honest, I feel like I didn't even blow up that fast. It's just like motherfuckers weren't even on me. So when I had this song, it blew up. I didn't blow up, the song blew up. So like, people didn't even just know that I had like fucking 4 mixtapes out before this shit. So I always had a grind anyways. So I feel like people just don't understand it.
Even though things aren't in his favor, BlocBoy is confident that good things are coming his way. He still believes he'll rise to the top again and will eventually step out of Drake's shadow.
Yeah, they're tuned out, and guess what? They're gonna come back again. If I see like, it's just time. It just take time, and like the longer you keep rapping, and the more you keep going, it's the bigger your fan base get. Like I know when I first dropped them, with my real fans, like I already knew that because every time I look at my comments, we see something about Drake or some shit. But now, like the comments change.
What's interesting is that these days, BlocBoy is trying to ride the same wave by reaching out to Drake for another collaboration. This time, he didn't just slide into Drake's DMs, but he made it public on his Instagram story, saying, "I think it's time for another one at Champagne Poppy." This time around, even Drake's fans recognized that there wasn't much for the Six God to game from teaming up with BlocBoy ever again. Some even have gone far as to comment things like, "Drake probably avoiding watching that story right now," and BlocBoy fell off. No waves to ride there for the boy. Rather than being the megastar that Look Alive set him up to be, BlocBoy is now left in obscurity, and his fallout is even being mocked by fellow rappers like Bandman Kevo.
I don't care. He shouldn't have said nothing about me. He fell off. He do not got no money like me. He should have came at me. He fell off. All that dancing and doing this with the leg shit is over with. It's over with, bro. You don't got it.
Once riding a wave that Drake hopped on, only to jump off before it faded, BlocBoy isn't alone in briefly benefiting from Drake's knack for recognizing what's hot in the culture. Sometimes this phenomenon even extends to rappers from Drake's own city, which was the case for a rapper by the name of Smiley. An underground MC from Toronto, Smiley started his career rhyming with the Garden Gang clique. After a 2015 stint in jail derailed his momentum, Smiley got his initial exposure through tracks like 9 on Me, and soon, Drake could be seen rapping his track from the pool.
My pants. Orland, that's a label. She want shit with no cable. Now I'm popping and annoying. Wow. I don't join in.
Officially on Drake's radar since 2017, he soon signed to Drake's OVO label, and to him, it seemed like the perfect scenario. At that point, Drake really started pushing him heavily on social media.
I seen a picture with you and Ross, and Drake captions the shit that you're his favorite rapper.
Oh, yeah.
Right, what that felt like when you seen that?
It was love, so I already, like, he's already said things like that too already, so I was like, I was just surprised he posted that like that, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
With that kind of cosign, he started to believe that he was the one.
Sure, it's like, I've finally gotten to embrace everything, like, you know, I understand it, but like, I've been like that, I've been asking myself, like, why me, but I keep asking myself that for how long now, like, you know? It's me. You know, but real shit, why me, but it's just, it's love, like, that's what's crazy, because now I even see what he sees. Real shit, like, you know, it's crazy. It's like, I do believe like.
But unfortunately for Smiley, no one else saw it. And when he finally got the Drake cosign on 2021's Over the Top, his flow got clowned by the masses, and everyone pretty much thought he fumbled his opportunity.
Got fresh from boy named Liti, send me a new and say use instead. Everything go when you live in that.
What am I listening to? I'm gonna get mad, bro, cause this shit, bro. It gonna be hot, bro.
The comments were just as ruthless. One of the hardest verses from Drake in a long time, and Smiley does this. Smiley sounds like he has tickle battles with his homeboys. Despite the fact that the track got number 57 on the chart, his 2021 album, Buy or Buy 2, sold abysmally, clocking in at just 1.5k units in its first week. Since then, he's barely been a factor, but has denied falling off, without any real evidence to back it up, aside from the fact that he was chilling on a boat. But falling by the wayside in Drake's priorities after a hit isn't exactly anything new. I mean, just look at what happened to I Love McConan, another artist who acquired Drake's attention from a self-released project. McConan's debut EP popped off, courtesy of tracks like Tuesday and I Don't Sell Molly No More. After putting in a call to producer Sonny Digital, Drizzy got his hands on the track, and suddenly, McConan's life changed.
Now, when Drake got on it, what did you say?
Oh man, I just fainted in the house. You saw that little video. I was like, what the hell happened? You know what I'm saying? I was just tripping with my friends, you know what I'm saying, smoking weed, hanging out. Somebody tweeted me a link like, oh, that new Drake and I Love McConan is fire. And I just favored it like, oh yeah, that would be dope. He must mean like if me and Drake made the track, right, that would be hot. And I was like, yeah, that would be hot. The official OVO page tweeted me and was like, Drake, I Love McConan featuring Drake, Tuesday remix. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, no way. I met Drake after the show, after watching the show and shit. And then he came up to me singing some more lyrics from like I Don't Sell Molly and all that. And I was just like, what? How do you know my music? You know what I'm saying?
Soon after that, McConan signed to OVO and thought he won the music industry lottery. But just a year after he got signed, the Californian was lifting the lid on the experience and even claimed that Drake threatened to put hands on him at one point. In a lengthy interview with The Fader, McConan expressed how he felt like Drake and his crew were, quote, scared when they saw how easily he could cook up some bangers, before expressing how he felt betrayed by Drake's camp for the way he was treated when he entered their orbit. Why y'all want to play games? Why didn't y'all just tell me you didn't want to fuck with me anymore and just let me go about my own way? Why did y'all make me chase you all the way the fuck around and make me look like a fucking fool? Why would you do this? I was threatened by others. Someone I so-called look up to, saying, we gon' fuck you up the next time we see you. Believing that OVO only signed him because they needed a hot song, McConan has stayed on his independent grind. But nothing's ever hit the same since he had this misadventure with OVO. But while there might have always been a ceiling on McConan's success anyways, one person who many think has been held back by his association with Drake is Party Next Door. An R&B pioneer in the eyes of the fans, the fellow Canadian has been clicked up with Drake since 2014. And while The Weeknd refused to sign to OVO, Party Next Door was happy to sign his name on the dotted line. I could go to a label where they don't know how to handle me and they don't care, he said of his decision. Or I'll have a mentor who's been through it, who knows exactly what I want to mean to my city and what I want to achieve. They know how to handle your emotions. I'll have freedom and guidance. Even though he claimed to have all this freedom, he later revealed in an interview that he had to give Drake the track Wednesday Night Interlude for one of his projects, even though he wanted it for himself. But there's no denying that Drake made a really big impact for him. In 2016, Come and See Me got him onto the charts. And in 2019, Loyal became his biggest commercial success so far. But there's times where PND's frustration with his role at OVO has boiled over, particularly when it comes to writing for other artists.
I'm 23, but I feel 43. You know what I mean? That's something to write for these other people.
PND has faced criticism for either sharing his hits with Drake or finding his biggest successes alongside him. He once tweeted and deleted his plans to leave the label after one more album in November of 2020 when he wrote, "One more album, then I'll tell y'all what it's like." But now that so much time has passed, it's hard to imagine that even as talented as he is, that he could ever reach the full potential he had before wasting valuable time on the shelf at OVO. As for others, the Drake cosign seemed to come at the perfect time, only to be unable to capitalize. This was definitely the case for Young Blue, an Alabama artist who initially made waves back in 2017 with Miss It. Blue has always had clear star power, but when his buzz started to take a little dip, having Drizzy hop on 2020's Your Mind Still changed everything for him. Before that, he was battling to get a fair deal from record labels and almost signed his life away on what would have been a terrible contract. But the minute that he was seen next to Drizzy, he suddenly had leverage.
The deal they was offering me, it was like a lot of projects involved in that. Like, and I was just like, man, I ain't got no other choice, man. I'm just gonna take the opportunity, huh?
Like three projects or so?
Like 4. And they wanted my old masters. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
hell to the fucking no.
And it was a number like 250 type shit. You feel
2.5 million?
No, 250,000. Like advance. Okay, just put it in perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like before the Drake record dropped, well, soon as the Drake record dropped, I was having bidding wars between $8 and $9 million.
Really?
The lead single from his album Moon Boy, the record peaked at number 12, and soon after, he was blowing up like crazy. But to this day, Your Mind Still has double the plays of his next most popular song. And while albums like 2023's Love Scars 2 did alright, he still hasn't been able to get a hit that comes anywhere close to the impact of the collab with the Six God. Through these artists, we get a glimpse into the potential negative effects of getting the Drake stimulus package. But why does this happen to so many of them? And who exactly is to blame? Drake's critics often suggest that there are hidden reasons behind his collaborations. Since his rise to fame, he's faced accusations of capitalizing on others' sounds or leveraging their hype for his own gain. Back in 2015, when he first started co-signing Kodak Black, Earl Sweatshirt called him a vulture on Twitter, where he wrote, "I still feel like Drake's overall statement isn't 'check this new shit I heard.' It's always self-serving." And a lot of people agree. Drake obviously embraces the curator/trendsetter persona, and he's decent enough at it. But it doesn't ever seem like he manages long-term working relationships with these artists he quote-unquote discovers. Whether it's Dej Loaf, Fetty, or McConan, it feels like nothing can happen in hip-hop without him. He's a vampire. But according to Drake, it's nothing as sinister as that. Whether it's UK rap or Afrobeat he's tapping into, it's just because he's a music lover.
I like to enjoy what's going on, man. I appreciate like all these young people creating all these things. You know, it takes some real energy and synergy to like create a good song.
Yeah.
Like I hate that people think that like me being like into music from these kids that are trying to like make it and trying to build a name for themselves is like, oh, that's some culture vulture. Like, what does that even mean? I don't understand what that means.
Yeah.
Would you rather me like not like, acknowledge anything or support? Like that's some hater shit, but it is what it is. I see it a lot, and I guess people have their own outlook on it.
But it's fair to say that not everyone thinks it's as straightforward as that. In the eyes of the TDE rapper Daylight, he'll just use them up and throw them away.
We live in an era where people need to suck other people's juice. So they're going to make friends with him, especially you know who. He's going to make friends with him. He's going to try to do a song with him and feed with him like he does every up and down, right? What's going to happen is they're going to get on your records, they're going to take your style, and they're going to blow up, and then when you dry out, they're going to keep going.
And when you look at the careers of people like Blockboy JB and McConan, he might have a point. Then you have the problems he faces with the artists on his label. Similar to P&D's experience, there's a feeling that many of the artists are fueling the Drake machine. OVO's Majid Jordan once described a studio setup that was way more similar to a boot camp than it was to a recording session, where artists are secluded, working tirelessly on projects without outside contact. The result? Well, it gave us hits like Just Hold On, We're Going Home, which, as many of you know, is one of Drake's most popular tracks. But it's stories like this that alter some fans' perceptions to the point that they believe Drake operates a musical sweatshop disguised as a label. So when his newest signee, 4Bats, joined, they were trying to warn him about what to expect. Welcome to the sweatshop, 4Bats. Your stay is indefinite. To noted Drake stan academics, there are definitely problems that arise from the Drake stimulus package.
Drake has successfully cleared himself of a number 2. This was artistry and wizardry at its finest. Hear me out. Drake rocked all these newcomers to sleep that could be possibly an incumbent. Okay, little baby. All right, bet. You know, see, Drake never hates on the new guy. He just shows him overly love and almost gets credit for the new guy come up. Then after a while, he steps away from the nigga. And shit never looks the same.
But when it comes down to it, Drake is ultimately free to give a feature to whoever he wants. And if they're not on his label, he doesn't owe them anything else. In fact, while it might give these rappers a buzz in wake of the track dropping, it's not his job to give them a whole career.
ताकत मिलती नहीं, बनानी पड़ती है। बॉर्नवीटा, इसके 2 कप में है दिन का
It's the truth. I mean, it's the whole truth, bro. What can you say, bro? The whole split, bro. The whole truth, nothing but the truth, bro. Real talk. So I don't know what people are saying, bro. I know They're like Drake fans. They're Drake fans. Okay. Why should I hate, bro? I have no reason to hate. Never found a reason to hate. I really don't care. It's beef to Drake.
One music industry secret no one tells you is that you cannot get rich under a record label. With only 20% of the profit left after releasing a huge track, musicians are forced to dump this scam. Those who insist on staying back are compelled to sell their souls.
અમે કલાકે 16 hours ઉમેરી રહ્યા છીએ તો બનો કોઈના મિત્ર તમે જ્યાં પણ છો ત્યાંથી
As a musician, nothing says you made it quite like a record deal.
What do you say, fellas? You want to go make a record?
Record label deals were the holy grail for musicians. It was the key to their fame and fortune. But over the decades, record deals have turned into something sinister. On the surface, all the public sees is the money, the fame, the cars, the jewelry. But on the inside, the industry is something completely different. Sophisticated contracts are designed to suck all the money out of an artist, while they slave away as debt slaves to the label. And for good reason. If you want to screw people over, you're gonna wanna pick the most naive, unsophisticated victims that can't fight back. And let's face it, most artists dedicate their lives to the pursuit of music. Which means they're probably poor.
You got a 6'4"?
I don't have a car.
And probably not very educated. And on top of that, they have that idealistic drive to spread their art, impact their fans, get rich and famous to prove all their haters wrong. Which means while you're screwing them over, they're gonna work harder than ever for you. And the best part, thanks to the celebrity culture in America, there is an endless supply of them.
But no more if you let me inside your world.
So let's learn the art of enslaving artists.
Damn, man.
Work for who?
Absolutely. So the status quo here is artists have been getting screwed since the beginning of time. Where's the value going? It's going into the pockets of the rights holders, and they write these contracts that are so convoluted that they essentially strip away every last piece of value, and everybody's getting paid except the artist. The artist gets paid last, and they get paid the least.
The music industry is a joke.
they got into ownership equity deals with the streaming services. In an arrangement for them to have an equity position, they agreed to very low rates for the artist's music.
One band that we're in is going to make us all this money and be our sole source of income. I think that's gone.
Every band needs to really pay attention to what their record contract.
Still don't get paid for anything we do, and we travel around town to town hoping for scraps of food and
shit. The music business plays this Jedi mind trick on you, where the whole thing's set up to be rapacious and take advantage of your weakness.
It's the 1980s and you're a record label looking for artists to sign. The 80s are seen as the glory days of music for a lot of reasons. There are all these new genres taking off, people were listening to everything from folk music to pop to hard rock, and for artists, life was good. Back then, a record deal was a pretty huge achievement. You would approach an up-and-coming artist, offer them a record deal, and once they signed, 85% of the profits from their music releases and albums would go to you, and 15% would go to them. Sure, it may seem a little unfair at first, but this was before the internet. You couldn't really reach a wide audience on your own. It was hard to tour on a global level on your own. Not signing with a label and keeping 100% of nothing is still nothing. On top of that 15%, artists could keep all the money they made from concerts and merchandise. So it was a pretty good deal. You see, musicians usually don't have good business acumen. They are craftsmen, not business people. So signing with a record label left them free to focus on the creative side, while you, the label, did all the business stuff to blow them up. So back then, record labels and artists had a somewhat symbiotic relationship. There was still plenty of bad stuff going on, but record labels served as a legitimate engine to getting music out to the masses. But then came the internet, and it changed everything.
Napster says it's willing to pay to play, but will consumers stay loyal?
The latest software makes it a bit too easy for students to access their favorite tunes.
Legal troubles over copyright infringements aren't slowing down Napster. The song swapping company is now in the top 50 list of most visited sites on the web, according to Mediametric.
Popular internet sites for downloading music. A federal court ruled Monday Napster must stop allowing music fans to swap copyrighted material.
It's time for Napster to stand down and build their business the old-fashioned way. They must seek permission first.
At first, it looked like the internet was gonna make life hell for record labels, not artists. Suddenly, people could download pirated versions of songs off the internet or watch music videos online. CDs, vinyls, radio stations, and TV channels like MTV became obsolete. No one was gonna wait hours for a TV show to play their favorite song if they could just stream it online. And no one was gonna buy a CD for $10 to $15 if they could just pirate the songs for free. Everyone was losing money, but at least artists could still make money from things like touring and merch. Record labels were in serious danger, and it wasn't about to get any better. After the nightmare that is the internet, came YouTube and online streaming apps like SoundCloud and Spotify. It made it a million times easier for people to access music for free, or as little as $5 to $10 a month, versus $10 to $15 for a single album. It's hard to describe just how much damage the internet caused to record labels. They have been hemorrhaging money, but at least now, people weren't straight up pirating music as much. Back in the 80s, 95% of the revenue in the music industry came from CD sales, so CD sales were propping up the entire industry. Now, 75% came from streaming. So the question became, how do we, the record labels, get a cut of that streaming revenue so it doesn't just go to streaming platforms and artists? And finally, you hatched an idea. A way to get back to the good old days when you were making millions. But this time, it was at the complete expense of artists.
Need to run Windows on your Mac? Parallels Desktop makes it simple to integrate Windows.
As a record label, you had a lot going against you in the early 2000s. Your solution? Create a new kind of record deal that would make up for the loss in CD sales. So you found a way to legally take as much control of their lives as you wanted. Enter the modern day record deal. No longer was it a symbiotic relationship. According to these new record deals, once an artist signed, record labels got ownership of both the masters and publishing rights. This means you own the rights to the actual music they created, plus the rights for them to perform this music at concerts online pretty much everywhere. This would be kinda like the equivalent if I signed with some YouTube agency, and they owned this actual video instead of me. Now you weren't just making money from album sales, which was now non-existent. You were making money from every single aspect of their music. If they sang at a concert, you cashed in. Performed at a private party, you cashed in. Had their song played on the radio, you cashed in. Artists didn't have creative freedom anymore. With so much money at stake, you got everyone involved to make sure that every song they put out would be a global hit. That's why today it seems like the majority of the biggest songs sound very similar. It was a race to make money, not art. And the best part of it all that money being made from having international hit songs and albums, millions of streams online, and dozens of concert appearances every year, well, most of that money wasn't flowing into the artist's pockets anymore. It was flowing into yours.
Yeah, so if you sign a deal with a label, they basically own your rights. So it's really up to them what they pay you. And in most cases, they take 90% of the money. So everyone takes their cut. And then at the end of the day, artists are left with less than a tenth of less than a half a penny per play.
This is Andrew Antar, a lifelong musician and the co-founder of a music streaming startup called TuneFM that's looking to change all of this. When online streaming platforms like Spotify came around, things got even worse.
So you can't just sign up and start uploading your masters to Spotify. They don't really have that. The whole Spotify for Artists thing is just for the social engagement and like posting pictures and text, not the actual music. So the rights holder is really still in control there.
And once they do, you take pretty much all their money.
So what they do is they use distributors, so digital distributors. They push out the song to every platform like Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, yada yada. And so they do these blanket license deals where 70% of the revenue from the streaming service goes directly to the rights holder, the labels, and the publishers. And then they decide to pay out the artists and the other producers and the songwriters based on the deal terms that they sign. And generally, these are the sketchiest deal terms you could possibly find. In many cases, a lot of these songs are written by one guy, produced by another guy, and then performed and sung by another person. So everybody has to get their cut at the end of the day.
Now for you, this whole setup seems great and all, but what's gonna make an artist fall for it? What's gonna make them eager to sign away all their money? Well, part of it is that record labels are still the gatekeepers like we just talked about. But another reason is something called the album advance.
The way that I believe in this, because you have a unique talent, Eric, very special. Don't fuck around.
First off, you promise them the world. You play up their ego, you tell them they're gonna be the next Beyonce, the next Justin Bieber, the next Drake. You make them think that you're the only label in the world that can get them there.
So like what's like the pitch they give artists? Like how do they sell the dream?
Yeah, just like the VC says, we're going to make you millionaire, billionaire 10 times over. The labels say the same thing. We're going to make you huge. You'll be on the top 10 spinning on the radio. You're going to be doing all the headlines of all the festivals and this and that. We're going to make you rich. We're going to make you famous. And it's a very hard thing to turn down. And then you see, oh, wow, this is a big company. They're a public company. You know, they have all these other artists. You sort of trust all the social proof behind it. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of people who are not making music who are taking all the money.
Remember, most artists are broke. So you just gotta offer them something they crave just as much as fame. Immediate money. Most of these artists have heard rumors of signing bonuses in the millions. So when you offer them $500,000 as what's called an album advance, it makes them feel like they finally made it. But unbeknownst to them, the album advance is actually just a loan they have to repay with money their music generates. But to an artist that's broke and doesn't know anything about business or finances, the album advance, that $500,000 might as well be as good as cash. Here's how it works. A new artist comes along, and you offer them $500,000 to sign with your record label. Most of these artists will sign right away without reading anything, because again, they're broke, desperate with $500,000 staring them in the face. You promise them they're gonna be millionaires, that they're gonna be an A-list celebrity, while you conveniently skip over the clauses in the contract about how they sign the rights to their music and performances over to you. They'll only be getting 20% of all the money their music makes, and you justify it by telling them that all these other famous artists got the same deal. You show them the math, that once they're famous, even that 20% is gonna be worth millions upon millions. So they sign a deal, get the $500K, and eventually they realize the truth. You see, that $500K you offer them isn't a bonus or reward, it's literally like a check you would get if you raised money for your startup. They have to use that money to make music videos, hire and pay their managers, lawyers, producers, create merch, promote their music, and on top of all of that, they need to budget to live their daily lives. $500,000 seems like a lot until you realize that one good music video can set you back almost $300,000. And even if they manage not to buy a new car, iced-out jewelry, or designer clothes, that $500,000 could take years to pay back. That's because out of all the money they generate, only their 20% cut goes towards paying off the loan. That means their music has to make $2.5 million just to pay off a $500,000 loan. And until that loan is paid off, they're not going to see another cent.
For the artist and performer, it could be 6 months to a year or more before they see basically a pittance of what the money that came in that they generated on these streaming platforms. You could be making millions of streams, generating millions of dollars for all these platforms, their rights holders, and be getting paid, less than 100K, less than 50K, less than minimum wage for the value that you're driving.
And that 2.5 million? Well, that's gonna take a little over 500 million streams on Spotify to make. That is the number of streams global superstars get, not new artists. So the cycle just continues. You offer an advance, they have no choice but to take it to survive, and they end up owing you even more money. The life of a signed artist is a life of indentured servitude, except for the few that blow up. At least before COVID, artists had concerts to pay the record label back faster. Labels were confident that artists could pay them back.
But then all that dried up with COVID and the pandemic. Now all the shows got canceled for years on end, and so now they're actually making no money. So the notion of the starving artist is a truly real thing.
Post-pandemic, however, it's looking a lot more grim, which gave way to the next innovation by record labels, 360 deals. What do you do when concerts aren't an option anymore? You take over every other aspect of the artist's lives. Enter the 360 deal, a record deal where you can take money from every single revenue stream of an artist. Start a fashion line, you get a cut. Create a perfume, you get a cut. Start a cooking show, you get a cut. Every single cent the artist is making directly or indirectly from their music or influence becomes yours to exploit. Now artists aren't just signing the rights to their music away, they're signing their literal lives over to the record label. And for you, life couldn't be better.
And at the end of the day, the founder or the artist in this scenario becomes an employee of the funder. So they might give you $1,500K to put into a new album, and all that goes to the recording studio and the producers. You don't actually get any of that in your pocket. And artists have to take it because they don't have any other money otherwise. So they're taken advantage of. They're in a position of weakness.
And sure, if you're an A-list celebrity, you can make money even if the deal is sleazy. But even major artists like Kanye West and Taylor Swift have had enough of being owned.
A-list, we're talking about literally hundreds of millions of streams. Then these guys can be making what could be seen as decent money. But then they even get pissed off, and then they start to break their contracts with their labels. So you look at Taylor Swift and Kanye and Radiohead, they're all saying, you know what, we should be making tens of millions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions, not a few million here and there. But we're talking about 0.0001% of all the artists that are even licensed, and then even less than all the artists around the world.
And by now you might be wondering, if record labels are so scummy, and artists end up with so much debt from signing, why don't they just do it themselves? Because 1, the current music industrial complex makes it very hard. 2, music still takes a lot of money to produce. But on top of that, the current financial system also makes it very hard. To pay artists directly, we would need micropayments, like paying a fraction of a penny per stream. And being that fiat charges giant transaction fees, it's not possible to make micropayments in fiat. That's where something called TuneFM comes in, which is basically the Web3 version of Spotify that's actually live
platform. And very soon we're launching the #1 music NFT marketplace in the world, aka OpenSea for music. And the integration layer, all the middlemen, there's more if they're independent.
On something called Hedera Hashgraph. This tech is fiat or it even allows you to make money by listening to songs on TuneFM.
So you could actually make paid, but then
listen right now.
Tune dive, if you will, that you can actually. That's even more invigorating and better than Spotify will ever be.
Yeah. I think I'm slowly coming back to where I am. I'm slowly coming back to where I am. Yeah, I want to thank y'all for joining me today, man. I'm gonna sleep because I'm tired. I'm gonna rest. Yeah, man. Enjoy your day. Make sure y'all stay safe, man. And yeah. Enjoy the love, the peace, and the prosperity, man, for our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And the love of God, sweet fellowship of the Holy Spirit, be with us for surely goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our life, and we shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Amen, y'all. Peace, man. See y'all another time, man. I'm sorry these are so short, but I have to, man. Tired.